Welcome to Shadow of Truth, and today is Wednesday, June 21st, 2017, and your hosts are Dave Kranzler from InvestmentResearchDynamics.com and Rory Hall from thedailycoin.org. We'd like to just say thank you for your patience. We've been away for a while. We're going to come back sometime, once a week. We're going to shoot for Wednesday. Might be another day of the week, but we're going to go to a once-a-week format. Dave, what's going on over in your world?
Well, it's a beautiful day here in sunny Colorado, sunshine and mountains, which is why we live here.
That's good.
So I suppose you weren't calling to discuss the weather here in Denver. You probably want to know what's on my mind.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Well, I'm still processing this Amazon takeover of Whole Foods, and I did my last short seller journal. I wanted to focus on the housing market, but the deal was announced, and so I had to focus the content, most of the content of the journal on Amazon and the idiotic takeover of Whole Foods. And the title of it is "Toxicity plus toxicity does not equal purification." So, I've still kind of quarantined a lot of the content in there for my subscribers, but just as a preview, most people aren't aware of this, but Amazon's e-commerce business does not really make any money at all. The international e-commerce business loses money, and the North American e-commerce business makes a little bit of money. The overall profit margin for the e-commerce business is about 0.3%. Right now, any cash that's or any operating profit that's being generated by Amazon is coming from its cloud business, and that's the growth rate of that is just declining at an alarming rate, and that's because it's a highly competitive business. Eventually, the price of cloud computing is going to approach zero, just like it did for fiber optics and memory storage. So I'm just amazed at the drivel that I've been reading in various stock trading forums like Seeking Alpha and other venues that are applauding this acquisition. I mean, it's really just common sense. I'm sure there will be marketing studies based on this deal that'll be taught in business schools. That'll be a bunch of BS. But people go to Whole Foods because it's a premium brand. It's their premium brands are high quality. You pay through the nose for them, and that's where Whole Foods makes its margins. You can actually go there and get their private label products for less, at a lower cost than the same type of product would cost at King Soopers or Safeway. And I shop at all three all the time, and I pay attention to that stuff. And so now all of a sudden Amazon's going to go in there and try and convert Whole Foods into groceries for the masses. Well, that's not going to work because that's an extraordinarily competitive space. And Amazon's overall profit margins are very low. They don't have a lot of room for error here. Walmart is more than 3 times the size of Amazon, and they have operating margins of around 4%. They got a lot more room to cut prices and go cutthroat against Amazon than Amazon has, than the other way around. And another interesting little tidbit that I found out yesterday is there's 2 foreign grocery operators that are basically catered to lower middle class and middle class in their cutthroat price discounter type grocery concepts, and they're going to expand rapidly in this country. So, yes, not only is the grocery space extremely competitive, it always has been. It's very low margin, but it's going to get even tougher. So I still think that, whenever Amazon's stock looks like it's getting ready to teeter over, Bezos always makes a huge headline splash that saves the stock. And this stock was starting to head south pretty quickly after it traded over 1,000 for a couple days. And what does he do? Boom, he announces a takeover of Whole Foods, and the stock juices back up towards 1,000. Well, I honestly don't think that's going to last when the dust settles and people realize what the heck is he doing.
Yeah, or not doing.
And I've got a full-blown analysis in my short sellers journal, including trading ideas for how to play Amazon for the short side.
That's good. The other growth,
and there's more to come there too, because there's a lot more analysis that can be done. I mean, Amazon's numbers the accounting's so deceptive. And as far as I know, I'm the only one who's ever truly dissected them and laid them out the way they really are.
Yeah, your Amazon.com report, well worth a read, well worth supporting. And I agree that it paints a picture that no one else can even come close to. And those grocers that are coming in, Aldi's already here, and then there's another German grocer that's
Lidl. They actually own Trader Joe's,
and they're getting ready. Both of them, I think, they're both on the only two companies that will be expanding this year outside of Dollar General that are making a real expansion. I mean, Dollar General is expanding by about 800 stores, and I think that between these two, the numbers, I believe, are around 2,000 units that between the two companies they're looking at expanding. Nobody else is doing that.
Right.
So everybody else is closing stores. What I wanted to bring to the table is Russia's. The numbers were just released for Russia's gold acquisitions for May, and they added another 21.8 tons to their stack. And the significance of this is that China didn't add an ounce to their stack. If the current trend continues throughout 2017, then what's going to happen is that Russia is going to overtake China's official reported gold holdings. We know that that's not accurate. We know that according to Alistair McLeod's research that China probably has, thousands of more tons of gold, tens of thousands of more tons of gold, somewhere 25,000 tons to be in the ballpark. But officially, what the traders and what other government officials look at, that's where Russia could potentially move into 5th place by year's end if the current trend continues, which China hasn't acquired any gold officially for the past couple of months. So, like I said, if this trend continues, then Russia has the potential to move into 5th place, which would be a pretty big deal because all the moves that are being made currently with the SCO, the Eurasian Economic Union, not to mention the sanctions, not to mention the way that oil has been manipulated to punish the Russian economy. All of these things come into play with these official gold numbers, all of them. So, and the other comment that I wanted to make was about Danielle DiMartino Booth this morning made a comment during the Greg Hunter interview regarding academia and how the people that write the policies aren't affected by the policies. Not only are they not affected by them, but they've never, not one of them within the Federal Reserve System has ever held a job. I mean, and as you were saying before we started recording, Dave, John Titus has pointed out that all of their talking points come from the BIS and from people in the shadows in the first place. So, but my thing is that how are we supposed to respond and react to people that are forcing policies on us that don't affect them? Are we just supposed to just roll over and take it? I mean, most of the citizens do. They don't care. They don't look at it. But the people that are awake and aware, that's where you wrote an article the other day about the American public being pissed off. Well, this is where some of that anger is coming from. Because anybody with a brain can look at it and go, why is this person that has no clue It's not affected by anything that they do or that they say or that they write or that they force on my life, and sometimes at gunpoint, literally at gunpoint. Why am I supposed to take this? Why is this system supposed to continue? How can it continue? It can't, because they're just liars and thieves. And that's exactly what the point that I took from what Danielle said from her comment was to show that these people are not affected, and they've never been in business. They don't know anything about it. They don't know anything about what they're writing about, but yet they have this wherewithal and this great wisdom that tells me how my money is supposed to operate, how my savings are supposed to operate. Well, they don't. Period. They don't. And I think that that's part of, that anger and that frustration and that knowledge about what's actually happening with our monetary system, I think that that's fueling some of the movement in the cryptocurrencies. It should be it should be affecting the gold and silver market, but it's not at this point. It will. I can assure you of that gold and silver, once these cracks begin to widen, I believe that people will begin moving more into physical gold and physical silver, simply because they've been money longer than anything else. I mean, is it wise to have some cryptocurrencies as well? I don't know. I don't know enough about them.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said there. Just circling back really quickly to the China thing. I mean, we all know that number's nonsense that they're officially reporting, but I agree it's on the assumption that Russia's reported number is accurate. It is very significant that they're moving up in terms of their ranking as in terms of the amount of gold they hold as a nation. And it's plain as day for everyone, right there in front of everyone. Gold is becoming increasingly important as a strategic financial asset.
Go ahead.
It's just, to me, it's amusing that the Eastern Hemisphere countries are accumulating massive amounts of gold, and most people aren't even aware of it. And a lot of people who are aware of it don't even think about what the significance of it is. And the Western countries are dishoarding their gold for the most part.
Which makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. So, I mean,
It's the opposite. It's the opposite theory.
Oh my goodness.
And I also agree with your analysis there of the gold versus Bitcoin. In fact, in my blog post that I put up yesterday, I kind of ended it with a brief comparison of gold with cryptos. And I basically said, I want to make it clear that I'm not in the anti-cryptocurrency camp, but I believe that ultimately precious metals are much more functional as a form of money than cryptos. And I point out that Bitcoin debuted for peer-to-peer transactions in 2009. Gold has functioned for this purpose for over 5,000 years. And I also cited the example of when the U.S. had cut India out of the SWIFT system, Iran out of the SWIFT system. It's part of the sanctions against Iran. And India is like, wait, we got to buy, we buy a lot of our oil from Iran. And they ended up swapping gold for oil with Iran.
Through Turkey.
Yeah, right.
That's kind of significant in that whole play. And in my opinion, I think, because Turkey's supposed to be a NATO ally, but yet they're doing this dirty deal between Iran and India for oil and gold.
Well, they got a tolling fee, but notice they didn't use Bitcoin to settle their trade. They used gold.
Oh, they didn't use, okay. Oh, well, Dave, what else we got?
That's about it. That's an interesting story from Danielle Martino Booth, because it just shows those who can do it and those who can't teach. And the Fed is nothing but a trophy showcase for the elitists and the big banks to have academics out in front saying, this is the policy, this is what we're doing, this is what's good for you.
Yeah, this is what's good for you. It doesn't apply to me, but it's good for you.
Right.
Well, all right. Well, have a good week, and everybody go over to investmentresearchdynamics.com. Check out what Dave's got going on. Come over to thedailycoin.org. Check out the articles that I've got going on. I've got a lot more to say about the Russians stacking gold and various other things. So, Dave, I guess we'll pick it up next week sometime.
Sounds good. I'll talk to you then.
All right, buddy.